Okay, so if you're a fan of Serpent Column, you'll already have noticed that there's a new Theophonos record out, and this is the fellow from Serpent Column, uh, having sort of creating what I'd see as an alternative history of where the band or where the sound, where the idea might have gone beyond 2019 or so. And Nightmare Visions is pretty brief, but obviously detail packed, full length at about 30 minutes, which explores the combination of mathcore and metalcore influenced avant garde black metal in a way that is a little bit more direct. It's just a little bit more less frantic, even though it is quite frantic still. And not necessarily centered around the riff, but it's the presentation is simplified, readable, and much in the same way that Ornuthi Thalassa was back in 2017 as one of my favorite records of that year, and more so because I was just still very much interested in what Synarchy of Molten Bones had presented years before, and that was sort of a continuation of what had interested me in the technical mathcore feeling applied to black metal aesthetics and how those worked so well because of their dissonant ancestry. Um, so this is more of a chaotic, hardcore influenced album, and it isn't that different from what we've gotten from Serpent Column in the last two releases. The main difference is that it is less chaotic. It is a less, wildly paced, and I think that it's a difficult thing to sort of examine because I'd been so impressed by the early work. I'd done some interviews. Maybe I might have come out of those interviews understanding less than I did going in, but uh, to approach this is to we're seeing the meta idea, the meta philosophy of the person in Serpent Column as it developed over several years in a very intense study of their vision. And now on this record, we're seeing a personal fever dream from the person that waxes poetic on a lot of their experiences in an abstract way and reaches a more direct, almost patronizing tone in the lyrics. So it's a pretty interesting record to sit with the lyrics, to feel along with the rhythms. And if you're not interested in metal lyrics, that's too bad. You're probably kind of dumb. But if you skip out on that part, this is still an entertaining record as a both if you're interested in rhythm guitar, especially, but also hearing the vast array of vocal timbers that he brings to these songs, which they feel a little bit fresh in the overall oeuvre of what he does, and otherwise the riffs themselves do feel like they are kind of a best of what he's done over the years. The circular syncopated grooves, the um, punctuative, aggressive, percussive rhythm guitar work, which can just as well, it could go very dissonant if it wanted to, but it doesn't really need to on this record because there's a cacophony that he can create without, the typical chord wrangling that we're used to in avant-garde black metal. It's pretty cool. It's a hard thing, again, it's a hard thing to sort of talk about and explain. You really do need to step into the twister of it all and understand that there is more of a pronounced hardcore influence here. And when I say hardcore, I mean 2000s, early 2000s metalcore before melodic death metal took that genre into a weird place. So, I definitely grew up around, listening to bands like Zao in the late 90s and mid 90s. Uh, that crosses over into interest in the converged core of the early 2000s as well. And so there are some vestigial pieces of that in the riff language here that might be interesting for people interested in chaos and chaotic guitar playing and how that can lead to phrasing, which is interesting. So we're checking out. It is a high recommendation, probably because I am already kind of bought into the artist's strange point of view and how that relates to Serpent Column, and how this feels like both a progression and a regression, a restatement of self. So otherwise, yeah, listen to another clip and see if you can get an iota of what this thing is all about within 15 seconds.